Good morning. How the devil are you doing this fine day? That's a good start. Clear the throat at me. Well, I feel marginally cooler than I did this time yesterday, which is something, I guess. But the thunderstorms we were promised have so far failed to materialise. So it feels very close and very sweaty here at Demolition News Towers this morning. As ever, though, we will soldier on. Let's be honest, I'm not exactly working at the cold face or performing brain surgery here, am I? Before we get things underway, a very quick point. Just in case anyone thinks the whole CMA debacle has blown over or has gone away, or I'm the only one left talking about it, you might like to take a look at the article I've linked in the chat. It's from Building Magazine, and it is superb. Now, without further ado, let me post the question of the day, roll the intro, and get this show on the road. Welcome to the Breakfast Show. I'm your host, Mark Anthony. It's Wednesday, the 20th of July, and as that remarkably persistent guy just said, welcome to the Breakfast Show. I am your host, Mark Anthony. In today's show, why yesterday's fires in the UK should be a wake-up call to those in the demolition and construction industry. We're headed to the US to witness the demolition of a 1.1 million square foot Campbells soup factory. We're checking out a Kobelco hybrid excavator with a two-piece boom over in Italy. If you think crusher buckets are for small sites, then think again. It was hot in the UK here yesterday, but it was much hotter for an operator of an excavator over in Massachusetts. And timely, we have a machine for all disasters. We'll get to all of that in just a second. But first, let's see who among the rich and the shameless will be celebrating a birthday on this day of days. Happy birthday! And it's many happy returns to Alexander the Great. But was he? Also, happy birthday to former Mafia hitman Mad Dog Cole. If your name's Mad Dog, you probably want a job like a Mafia hitman, don't you? Happy birthday also to the first man to scale Everest, Edmund Hillary, to actresses Diana Rigg and Natalie Wood, to singer Kim Carnes, and to Sex Pistols drummer Paul Cook. But far, far, far more importantly, many happy returns to one of the greatest guitarists of all time, the legendary Carlos Santana. Many happy returns to them, one and all. On the morning of the 16th of October 1987, my old boss woke up in a hotel where he was attending a management training meeting. He showered, shaved, and headed downstairs for breakfast. Now, this was in the pre-mobile phone age, so he did what we all used to do. He went to reception to see if he'd received any messages. The receptionist said no, he hadn't, but informed him that a branch had fallen on his car during the night. Untroubled, my boss went off to enjoy a full English breakfast on company expenses before going out to check on his company car. Turns out the branch was, in fact, an entire tree that had been brought down in the devastating storm that hit the south of England back in October 1987. And his navy blue company Ford Sierra now stood roughly 2 feet tall. I was reminded of the hotel receptionist's underselling of the situation while I was watching the TV news last night. Whether or not you believe the whole global warming thing, this is not the global warming that we have all been sold. Sure, we've all heard about the melting of the polar ice caps, of rising sea levels and potentially freak weather conditions, but I don't remember anyone mentioning the fact that the country would spontaneously catch fire. A lot. Yesterday's multi-fire outbreak highlighted the fact that as a nation, we are ill-prepared to deal with fires on this scale. It was much like our annual response to a downfall of snow. Too little and too late. Now, while yesterday's fires were exceptional, they should also serve as a warning. This, apparently, is a sign of things to come, a foreboding glimpse of a hellish future. Obviously, the government, assuming we can assemble one at some point, needs to pump some serious cash into our fire service. And of course, it needs to refocus and double down upon the global warming crisis. As private individuals, we need to be more aware of the consequences of our actions. Outdoor barbecues and discarded cigarettes need to be a thing of the past. But as an industry, we also need to be aware of the potential risks. There was a fire on some scaffolding at the Hinkley Point C site yesterday. Thankfully, there were no injuries reported. The fire was quickly contained and an investigation into the cause is now underway. But regardless of the cause, we certainly cannot take a fire at a nuclear power station lightly. And even if we're not talking about huge sites and the threat to a nuclear facility, just think about the makeup of a modern demolition or construction site. I'm sure we all saw how quickly and easily fire spread from house to house in London, Kent, and Essex yesterday. Imagine that on a demolition or construction site where there are piles of potentially flammable materials, highly flammable fuels and lubricants, and equipment containing huge quantities of diesel and oil. Domestic fires and site fires happen all the time, regardless of the impact of global warming, should I say. But if yesterday really was a sign of things to come, then as a nation, as a society, and as an industry, we need to be prepared. And we're going to come back to this subject, not once, but twice, a little bit later in the show. Right, since the weather is a bit more like the UK today, let's head off to Italy, home of pizza, pasta, gorgeous women, gesticulating men, and apparently a very smart hybrid Kobelco excavator with a two-piece boom and a ripper tooth. Have to say that looks a really impressive machine, and I love that ripper. Has anyone here actually had any experience of using an excavator-mounted ripper? If so, what was it like? Never had the opportunity myself. Also, has anyone driven a hybrid excavator? I'm going to throw up Ken Hatcher's comment in a second. I had a quick go in a Kobelco machine about 2-3 years ago. I was very impressed, particularly by the speed. I'd love to get your thoughts. And as Ken has said, I thought there'd be a lot more hybrid excavators now. Cat did one a few years ago. I know Komatsu are probably on second, if not third generation of their hybrid excavators by now. I must admit, I realise they are largely application specific, but I would have expected to see a few more by now. If anybody would like to comment on that, we'd love to hear from you. Now, let's play this because I've got soup to talk about.
Axoft and Svantec are your high-end partners for noise, vibration, dust and air quality systems, sensors and software. To find out more, visit axoft.co.uk or call 01234 639 550.
Now, I realise that any talk of soup seems inappropriate and poorly timed as we continue to roast and broil in this unseasonable and unprecedented weather. However, there is a project taking place in the US in which a 1.1 million square foot former Campbell's soup factory is being laid to waste. And we have some awesome footage of the project in action. $1.1 million square feet. Little wonder they have such a large equipment fleet on the case.
The Miller GT series heralds a new era of unrivaled power and cutting-edge intelligent coupler technology, increasing job site safety, machine versatility, and productivity. It's the added versatility that you need at the value you can afford. To find out more, visit millergroundbreaking.com.
I make no secret of my love of the MB Crusher range of attachments, particularly the crusher buckets. Many moons ago, I worked with Sean Heron at Worsley Plant as he pioneered the crusher bucket concept here in the UK. I did his PR for a while. MB Crusher is also the primary sponsor of this show, for which I'm hugely grateful. But here's the thing. When I think of a crusher bucket, I tend to think of sites that are too small for a full-blown track-mounted crusher. Yet it turns out that the MB Crusher can also play with the big boys. I was a fan before, I'm even more of a fan now. There's some cracking stuff going on in the chat today, which is just as well because I've got something to tell you a bit later in the show. Now, at the top of the show, we spoke about yesterday's wildfires here in the UK and about the scaffold fire at Hinkley Point C. Regardless of whether those were actually caused by global warming, a discarded cigarette, or an ill-conceived barbecue, the fires were not limited to the UK.
Thank you. Breaking news in Norwood. Sky 5 over the side of the former Norwood Hospital, where an excavator you can see there caught fire this morning. So far, no injuries. Heavy flooding forced the shutdown of that hospital 2 years ago, and it's in the process of being demoed. A new hospital will be built on the same spot.
I don't know if John Fitzmaurice is in the chat today, but if he is, I reckon he's shaking his head right about now. Now, I am not a religious person, but there are times when I feel like the god of journalism occasionally looks down upon me and smiles. I went to bed last night knowing that today's show would have a fiery disaster theme to it. I'd watched the wildfires on Sky News and I'd already had the burning excavator film ready to roll. And then I awoke this morning to find that the fine folks at XCMG has just launched what it describes as a multi-terrain, intelligent, emergency rescue platform, which sounds like something ripped straight from the pages of Thunderbirds. But this is what it looks like. Now, I have to say, I do have a question about a rubber-tired machine in a firefighting application, and some of that might be overkill here in the UK, where earthquakes are rare and largely inconsequential. Then again, after yesterday, I wouldn't be at all surprised if Godzilla trapped across the British landscape at some point in the next few years anyway. Just a thought.
Sorry to interrupt the guy with the funny glasses, but if you're enjoying this video, please hit the like button as it helps our channel. Or, better still, share this video with a friend or a colleague. Thank you. Right, back to Beardy.
Right, that pretty much wraps up the main part of this morning's show. I want to roll the outro in just a second before leaping gazelle-like over into the chat to see what you're all saying today. And it's been a busy one, which I'm very grateful of. If you can't stick around for that, then please stay safe. Look after yourself, your family, your friends, and your colleagues. Don't throw away cigarettes. Don't have barbecues outdoors. Drink a lot. Have a great day. And thanks for watching. If you do have the time, I'll see you on the other side of this, where I have an idea I'd like to run by you.